Welcome back to the Maria Sanchez Show. Thank you so much for joining us. If there's a topic, a promotion, an event, a cause, something that you want us to know about, do some investigation on, perhaps have the person responsible in studio to get all sides of the situation. If you go to contact us, emails go right to us here. I'm Maria at kadytv.com, or there's info at kadytv.com for your use and letting us know, because obviously we can't be everywhere and we might not know about certain things, so we'd love to hear from you. And I did butcher the last name of the guest that we have in studio. It's Donny Caccamise. Ha ha! And you're the owner of DMC Transmissions right here in the city of Ventura,
yes,
and of course in the county of Ventura. And welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, you've been in the business for 34 years?
34 years.
And always as DMC?
Well, prior to that, I was with Chevrolet Motor Division. But growing up, my father was an engineer, mechanical engineer, and he had a passion for transmission and differential type things outside of his school. He also taught automotive technology as I was growing up. And so prior to DMC, it was Don's Automotive, way back in the 60s and 70s.
Was that your dad?
That's my father, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a family business then?
Correct, yes.
And I, who know nothing about vehicles, including how much air to put in my tires, and so I'm just one of those girls.
Right.
And I'm a tomboy in general, ride a Harley, etc. To have your knowledge is stunning to me, because there's so much that can go wrong, and there's so much that. Let me say this: it's not been known for being the most reputable business in the world.
Well, there is a dubious distinction associated with it, unfortunately, but we're working hard to remove it.
And I would imagine with a family-owned business and 34 years, obviously you're standing for something, or else you wouldn't be around. So before we get into the specifics about the Los Angeles Auto Show, let's talk a little bit about your business.
Sure.
And did you just step into it because it was something that was handed to you, or is it something that you had a passion for, or did you try other things and then decide, no, this is really what I was meant to do?
Interesting you might say that. That's, my wife and I talk about it quite a bit, and it is my profession, but as you indicated, it's also my passion. I mean, I really enjoy doing the day-to-day things. Past couple years, I find myself with less and less time to do some of the stuff that I enjoy doing with the actual hands-on component type stuff. But at the same time, I really enjoy the business. I really enjoy what I do, interacting with the public. We do a lot of work with the police departments, and so it's a lot of fun to be involved. We're very big in the race circuit, in the quarter mile and the 8 mile. We have a few cars that are running at Pomona as well as at Irwindale.
And when you say I have a few cars running, meaning that you're responsible for the
drivetrains, correct? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. We sponsor 3 drivers. At Irwindale through the 8 mile track. We sponsor Oxnard Police in their drag program. I'm sure you already know, you interviewed them as well. And we provided the powertrain for their quarter mile racetrack and also for their desert racer, which, drag is drag racing against gangs and graffiti. Also desert racing against gangs and graffiti.
Convenient.
But those two schools, they kind of sometimes they compete with one another, but it's a lot of fun. We have a good time doing it. My wife and I just enjoy it.
And when somebody hears transmission, what does that mean? Does that mean that that's all you do?
No, there was a time when I was exclusively transmission repair. But it's gotten to the place now, Maria, where so much of the car is integrated. Everything has a module now. It's all electronically operated. Everything used to be they would build the engine in one particular place, and then the transmission and differential would be built in another area. Detroit was building the engines, Romulus and Flint were building the transmission assemblies. Now the units are assembled as a couple, or it's a marriage, and it's called powertrain control. And there's one module that controls the whole thing. So for anyone today in the business to claim we are just a transmission repair facility or a transmission research department would be kind of difficult, because so much of the rest of the car, without getting too boring, so much of the rest of the car plays into the transmission. So it's you have to be all-encompassing.
So why would somebody not do business with a dealer when they bought their car from there? And this isn't a slam on dealerships,
No.
but if money were not an object, because I know usually dealers are more expensive than the...
Yeah, and it's an interesting, honestly, we talk about this. I sit on the board of directors with the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, and twice a year we meet. And that's one of the topics that comes up. It's interesting to us continually how folks who don't have any prior knowledge or of the working systems of a car, if you drive, say, a Chevrolet, and you experience some type of a problem, regardless of the nature. Well, when you see the same emblem on a sign that's on your steering wheel, there's this sense that there's a team of engineers standing by, waiting for you to pull in that you're going to... When anything, there could be nothing further from the truth. I spent 24 years, my early days, at the dealership level, and so I know some of the things that happen. Parts-wise, yes, I mean, it is all factory stuff. But when it comes to the technicians and the service department, sometimes it's good, other times not so good. So to answer your question, what is it that would prompt someone, if I'm hearing it correctly, what would prompt someone to go to the dealer or to not go to a dealership?
Right.
It's brand familiarity, and it's because you're able to well, not you, but the dealership is able to advertise the particular brand logo. Mm-hmm. So there's an automatic sense of familiarity. Oh, I have a Lexus and I see the Lexus sign, so they must know how to take care of my car. When just a quick search, there would be page upon page after page of unhappy customers that have went, because there isn't really a screening process, as you might think, in hiring a technician to work at a dealership.
You would think that.
You would think, but it's not the truth. It is definitely not the truth.
I would think that they would do that to protect their brand.
You would think that, but that's not the case.
Okay.
Now, in sales, and forgive me, but in sales, they're probably a bit more structured than they are with service. In sales, because when you come in to buy the product, of course, they want the right look. You want to have that. People associate value with appearance, and so they want the front end to look as or as brand representative, brand recognizable as possible. In the back end, probably not as much attention.
So would there be a malady that somebody might have that they wouldn't go to DMC for?
There are a couple of things that we wouldn't address. Air conditioning is not something that I will get involved with. Other than for that, there are 7 basic vital systems of the vehicle, and we can talk about that at some point in the future, but there are 7 vital systems that need to be addressed, and of those 7 vital systems, we are fully certified through 2010 to address any concern.
Do you want to just enumerate what the 7 are?
Sure, okay. It's brakes, engine, transmission, cooling system, power steering, differential, and fuel system.
And I wasn't trying to ask you a question you wouldn't have an answer to, but I kind of thought you
sure.
might.
Yeah.
Since you referenced it. What the heck?
It's the 7 vital systems.
See, I don't know. I know there's 7, but I'm not sure what they are.
Yeah.
So, and that's the reason I asked that question, is because I grew up with my dad having a relationship with the local mechanic, and then that's all I knew. And then now as a big girl, it's like it's a man's world in terms of cars. And so I always think that a woman coming in, right away everyone knows, okay, we can charge more because she doesn't know what she's...
And that's unfortunate, but I'm sure there are places where that's true. Of course, at my place, that's not the truth. But unfortunately, those types of things happen. And not only types of things happen, but not only in the automotive world, and there are unscrupulous business people, regardless of the sphere or the endeavor. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it doesn't happen everywhere, and it certainly won't occur at my place.
Well, I would imagine that's something that's one of the luxuries that you could offer, is that you create a relationship. So regardless of the malady, regardless of the vehicle, you know the family, you know the person, you know what their constraints are, or whatever, and that might factor into how you do or approach things.
Yeah, and not only that, a couple of years ago we decided at one point in time we were service providers, but we are no longer. We are now solution providers. Because you see, if your car is not working, or if you have what you perceive to be a problem, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it really doesn't matter to you what the nature of the problem is, or only that you have a problem and you need to get your son or your daughter picked up, you need to get to the store to get milk, you need to get to wherever it is you need to get to. So I'm not too much concerned about what the problem is. I just need the car to work.
Right.
And it's one of those things where most of us, myself included, it's the last thing we think about until it becomes an issue.
Right. Now
all of a sudden, oh no, I've got to focus time and attention on something that I really don't want to pay any attention to, and I certainly don't want to pay any of my hard-earned money towards. So if I have to, I want two things. I want it diagnosed and corrected right the first time. And so we understand those things where I'm at.
So, Donnie, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the Los Angeles Auto Show, which is a big
stuff.
deal
Yes,
for
indeed.
auto enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Donny Caccamise.
Caccamise.
Ha-ha! With DMC Transmissions. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. The Maria Sanchez Show is about the county, by the county, and for the county. Whether we're broadcasting live from the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, checking in with the leaders in our communities, hearing from our elected officials, helping to promote public safety, preparedness, and wellness. We are here for the needs of Ventura County. The Maria Sanchez Show is also about entertainment and events. Sharing information, creating awareness, and supporting those in need. Won't you join us as we rewrite the rules of local television on the Maria Sanchez Show at www.kadytv.com. Welcome back to the Maria Sanchez Show. Thank you for your eyes. Our next segment is going to be with Marianne Rooney. She's the first female elected to the Harbor District, and so we're going to chat with her about what she intends to do and why she ran and what she's hoping that can be done with the harbor. She's got lots of ideas. But now we're continuing our conversation with DMC Transmissions owner, is it plural? Transmissions.
Mm-hmm.
Donny Caccamise. And Donny, also I might add, is on Coach Ron Tunick's show. You're on Tuesdays from 5 to 5:30.
Correct.
That's AM 1400. It's called Horsepower for half an hour. So if you like what you see, then you'll like more tomorrow when you get to listen to him take calls because you have topics.
Absolutely, yeah, it's fully interactive. Tomorrow we have the zone rep for Mercedes.
Oh.
The regional rep for Mercedes, so that's going to be fun.
So before we get waylaid again, because
sure.
It's not knowing my difference between a piston and a...
Yeah, understood, yeah.
Whatever. But there's that saying that goes operating on all
cylinders.
Cylinders,
Mm-hmm.
see?
Yeah.
Have it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's tell me, what is the allure of the auto show, other than men, testosterone, and speed, or did I answer my question?
Yeah, there you go. You just answered the question. Well, for me, I can only speak for myself. And I think, well, that's probably not true. I can speak for most people. It's the concept cars.
Okay.
And there are so many things. And essentially what it is, the whole idea of the car show, daily show, is to showcase the manufacturers what their plans are for the future, the immediate future, as well as the not-so-distant future. The direction that the company's headed in, what we can expect to see come on down as far as styling is concerned, as far as MPG is concerned, all these types of things. And so that's essentially what the car show is about. But the concept cars are, I know for me and for dozens upon dozens of others, that's really the kicker. And some of the things that are happening with respect with nanotechnology, that is, of course, that's the distant future, but it's very exciting.
Because it's like far out. It's not what we would see today. It's
right.
what we might see.
Well, as far as the concept cars that are there through, I think it's through the Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
Most of the concept cars can be put into production if they're able to find ways to make it cost effective. But nanotechnology, of course, that's still in scientific research as we speak. And I'm sure as we get further and further into this thing, it'll become more and more of a reality. But clearly, it's where the manufacturers are headed, what their focus is, what things are, what can we expect to see with respect to the next 5 years.
And then, obviously, green is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Hybrid
MPG
is
is king, no question about that.
Right.
And, it's still the jury is still out with respect to cars such as the Volt, Chevrolet Volt, the Nissan Leaf. These cars, it's a great idea. The batteries in them are $10,000 to $15,000 each, and they're large, they're heavy. The Volt probably is a little more alluring or attractive to people because it has a gas motor associated with the electric motor as well. You go 40 miles on an 8-hour charge, whereas I think the Leaf is 100 miles on an 8-hour charge. But, again, you mentioned right at the top that it's about men, testosterone, and that sort of thing. And, when it comes to cars, we all want to go fast, and guys like that feel of G-force, and you can't get that with the electric car yet. And I don't suspect that we ever will.
Right.
The hydrogen car, we might.
Really?
Possibly. Well, I mean, it's hydrogen power that puts a lot of our space vehicles in outer space. So it can't, but at what cost? And there's a lot of things that go along with that. But at least for the immediate future, for the next 25 years, we're still looking at conventional internal combustion and fossil fuels and that sort of thing.
So how does the green car movement affect your business?
Well, it does in a number of ways, mostly with respect to training, with respect to certification, because the systems are far different. And when I say far different, I'm talking apples and oranges. I had a gentleman call me today with a 2007 or 2008 Ford hybrid. And we are fully certified, but it requires a complete different mindset, a different set of tools, a different approach. Everything about it is different.
But that's a good point that you just made. You can
absolutely, sure.
And handle somebody.
Yeah. In fact, I employ one of the automotive technology coordinators at the Ventura College, and I employ him for that reason in particular, is for some of the unique things that come down, and it's not often, but it does come our way. One of those uniquenesses is the hybrid.
Which is nice to know, because I would think that would be a real dealership issue.
Typically it is. And incidentally, most of the time in the independent world, when it comes to onboard calibration files, programming files, each car from 1998 and newer has what's called double EEPROM, or electronically erasable programmable read-only memory files. Most of those files. Yes, it is a mouthful.
I was waiting for the sentence to end.
But those files have to be electronically erased and then reloaded, typically at a dealership. Well, my wife and I decided when we opened DMC that we didn't want that to be the case, where you'd bring your car to me and then we'd say, well, we've completed the repair. Now we have to tow it to the dealership for the files to be downloaded. It's all done on site. I have later equipment than some of the dealerships. I can't name.
Really?
Yeah, there are at least 4 dealerships in Ventura that don't have the equipment that I have.
Wow.
Yeah, and not to say that they won't have it,
right.
They just don't have it yet.
Well, that's so you're ahead of the curve.
Okay. Just a little.
Takes one to know one,
yeah.
As we sit here ahead of the curve with
yeah.
internet television. And what about the merger with Chrysler and Fiat?
Yeah, and again, I was speaking with a friend of mine about that yesterday, and the jury's still out on that as well. And he and I were having a discussion on what is the advantage. Clearly, the advantage would be Fiat. Fiat hasn't done anything in the United States since the '60s, maybe earlier than that. But at this point in time, Daimler and Chrysler have admitted that was a mistake, and that
did they? I didn't follow that.
Yeah, that did not work. In fact, Chrysler's been divested from Daimler, and so now we have Fiat and Chrysler moving forward, and a lot of it because we're getting MPG is king, right? So green is the thing that's in now, and so Fiat essentially is a smaller car, and I think they're big in Africa. They're big overseas, but here in the United States, they haven't done much. So now I think what's happening is Chrysler is saying, hey, okay, let's maybe take some of that technology, introduce it here into the U.S. market, and take some of that share that we normally wouldn't be getting because we have mid-size to full-size. The Dodge truck is definitely not green, and it's definitely
right.
not easy on fuel.
Right. And what's your take on the Ford Jaguar?
They've split. Yeah, because Ford no longer has Jaguar. They no longer have Rover. And there's one other. can't think of the other. There's another brand that they've shuttled.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they shuttled. And well, for the longest time, Jaguar was nothing more than a Lincoln LS. Just had the little cat on the hood.
Is that right?
Oh, it was a Lincoln LS. Every bit of the car was the same engine, same trans, everything.
Now, did that solve the reputation that Jaguar had, which was always you need two, one that you can drive and one that your mechanics?
Right. Yeah, there were some problems. I'll just say I've always liked Jaguar. Even when it was a Ford product, I still kind of liked it. I liked the styling that it was about. But suffice it to say that there's no longer the Ford and Jaguar marriage or union. That's now been shuttled. So.
And so is Jaguar standing on its own then?
At the moment, I'm not sure where they're headed, and I'm not sure what the idea or what the direction of the company is as we speak, because we're seeing a lot of consolidation, not only within the automotive industry, but even within the particular car companies. Take General Motors, for example. They've done away with Pontiac. They've done away. Well, of course, Oldsmobile I think was 2002. Hummer is now gone. Saturn is gone, and so they're consolidating their brand line. And now not only within the company but amongst the companies with respect to we just talked about it with Fiat and with Chrysler. So there is consolidation, and I think that it's a good thing. I mean, not only for the economy but for the automotive industry. I think it'll be a good thing. The future will obviously time will tell how well it works. But I for one believe that the direction that the automotive industry is headed is a good one, and it's clearly evident in the upbeat attitude and the mood that's going on at the LA Car Show this year.
Which I was reading up a little bit on it, and it's open Thanksgiving Day from like 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And admission is $12 unless you're a senior.
Yeah, that's right.
$2 off or $4 off or something.
It's been a
Kids,
huge turnout. Sure,
free.
yeah.
So, and then auto sales were up last month. I mean, that's a big at this
serious
time of
applause.
year.
Yeah, and the dealers are able to get financing for the most part better than they were. I know GMAC is having some problems. I think it went with now it's no longer GMAC. It's Ally or I don't remember. But there's been some changes with respect to GMAC and financing and that sort of thing. But all in all, I think that the future looks bright for the automotive industry, which is great for us.
Yeah, well, because that will help.
Sure,
absolutely. Other things
absolutely,
as well. Well, Donny, it's been a pleasure to visit with you in studio. Thank you so much for lending credibility to the business, and for you making it a family-owned business and operated and continuing the legacy. That says a lot.
We have fun.
And do you have somebody that you're bringing up in the ranks in your family?
Yes, I got a youngster who's coming right along.
And he has the acumen and the inclination.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Huh. So we'll have a third generation.
Yes, indeed.
So it's DMC Transmissions.
DMC Transmissions.
And Donny Caccamise is our guest. And thank you so much. It won't be your last visit with us, as all things cars are too complicated to share in segments. We're Sanchez show with our guest Donny Caccamise, and we have coming up next Oxnard Harbor District candidate who's now been impaneled, if you will, whatever you call that, Marianne Rooney visiting with us. Thanks so much. We'll take a quick break and be right back.